My name is Sofia Ramirez. I am 30 years old, and I live in a quiet neighborhood in Austin, Texas. On paper, I am married. In reality, I raised my baby alone. When I was 27, I married Alex in a small but beautiful ceremony in my parents' backyard. White roses, fairy lights strung between the trees, and soft music playing in the background. Everyone said we looked perfect together. Alex was tall, with warm brown eyes and an easy smile that made everyone feel comfortable. He worked as a project manager at a construction company. I was a freelance graphic designer working from home. We had dated for 2 years, and I truly believed I had found the man I would spend the rest of my life with. The first year of marriage felt like a dream. We cooked dinner together, laughed at silly movies on the couch, and talked about our future. We dreamed about buying a house with a backyard, traveling, and one day starting a family. Alex would say, "When we have kids, I want a little girl who looks just like you." Those words made my heart flutter. Then, 13 months after our wedding, I found out I was pregnant. I was overjoyed. I bought a tiny white onesie that said "Daddy's Little Girl" and wrapped it carefully with a handwritten note. That evening, after Alex came home from work, I handed him the box while my hands trembled with excitement. He opened it slowly. When he saw the onesie, he stared at it for a long time without speaking. Finally, he looked up and said, "Wow, this is happening really fast, Sophia. I'm not sure I'm ready to be a dad yet." His words stung, but I told myself he was just nervous. I hugged him and whispered, "We'll figure it out together. I love you." As my belly grew, everything slowly began to change. Alex started coming home later and later. At first, he blamed overtime. Then it became team meetings and guys' nights. He stopped asking how I was feeling. He stopped rubbing my swollen feet after long days. He stopped placing his hand on my belly to feel the baby kick. The man who once couldn't keep his hands off me now barely looked at me. I was 8 months pregnant when the labor started in the middle of the night. Sharp, terrifying contractions woke me up. I shook Alex's shoulder. "Alex, it's time. The baby is coming." He groaned and turned over. "Call your sister. I need to sleep. I have an early meeting tomorrow." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Tears streamed down my face as I called my older sister, Camila. She drove me to the hospital while I cried through every contraction, gripping the seat so hard my knuckles turned white. After 14 long, painful hours, our daughter entered the world. She was tiny, with soft, dark hair and my eyes. When the nurse placed her on my chest, something inside me shifted. All the fear melted away. I looked at her perfect little face and whispered through tears, "Hi, my sweet Bella. Mommy's got you. It's just us now." I named her Isabella, Bella for short. Alex finally arrived the next afternoon. He held Bella for less than 10 minutes, took a few photos for social media, and said, "I have to get back to work. I'll come by later." He kissed my forehead quickly, like it was an obligation, and left. He never came back that day. That moment marked the beginning of my new reality. Alex paid the rent and bought groceries when I reminded him, but he was emotionally absent. He didn't wake up for night feedings. He didn't change a single diaper in the first 6 months. When Bella had colic and cried for hours every evening, I walked the living room floor alone, singing lullabies until my voice cracked, while Alex slept in the guest room with earplugs. One night, when Bella was 2 months old and burning with fever, I sat alone in the emergency room at 3 a.m., rocking my sick baby. Alex was out with friends. I called him crying, begging him to come. He said he was too tired and would see us in the morning. I begged him later that week, tears streaming down my face. "Alex, please, she needs her father." He looked at me with exhausted eyes and said, "I never wanted kids this soon, Sophia. I feel trapped. This isn't the life I imagined." His words shattered something deep inside me. From that day on, I stopped expecting anything from him. I became both mother and father for Bella. The days blurred together in a haze of exhaustion and love. I worked as a freelance graphic designer from home during the day while Bella napped in a swing beside my desk. At night, I survived on 3 or 4 hours of broken sleep. I changed diapers, prepared bottles, bathed her, sang to her, and comforted her through every nightmare, all while Alex lived like a ghost in the same house. When Bella took her first steps at 11 months, she walked straight towards me with a big, wobbly smile. I cried happy tears and cheered so loudly the neighbors probably heard. Alex was at a bar with friends that night. He missed it. I stopped telling him about her milestones. It hurt too much to see the indifference in his eyes. Bella turned 1. I celebrated her birthday with just my sister, my parents, a homemade strawberry cake, and a few balloons. Alex came home late, saw the leftover cake, and said, "Oh, was that today?" before grabbing a beer from the fridge and disappearing into the living room. I raised my baby alone. I took her to every doctor's appointment by myself. I sat in the waiting room with other mothers and fathers while they chatted about their partners. I smiled politely when they asked about Bella's dad. "He's working," I would say, even though it wasn't true. When Bella was 18 months old, she got her first bad ear infection. She cried through the night, her tiny body burning with fever. I held her against my chest, rocking her for hours, whispering, "Mommy's here, baby. Mommy's got you." Alex slept through it all in the other room. Money was always tight. Alex's paycheck covered the bills, but there was never extra for anything special. I worked late into the night after Bella fell asleep, designing logos and social media graphics to earn a little more money. I bought secondhand clothes for her and simple meals for us. I wore the same faded jeans and old t-shirts for years. I didn't care how I looked anymore. My only concern was that Bella was warm, fed, and loved. Some nights, after Bella finally fell asleep, I would sit on the porch alone with a cup of cold tea and cry quietly. I cried for the marriage I thought I had. I cried for the father my daughter deserved. I cried because I was so tired. I sometimes wondered how I was still standing. But every morning, when Bella woke up and ran to me with open arms and said, "Mommy, you're my best friend," I know I was enough. I raised my baby alone, and I am proud of that.